Hello. Hello. Oh. Mama. Hello. Hello. Okay. So, hello everyone. Today we're gonna, well, this whole week we've been on a little tractor binge, and today I thought we should try modeling a tractor in Blender. So, yeah, sorry we're not drawing today, but I think this will be fun. It's something a little different, and maybe you'll, if you've never used 3D before, maybe this will be an interesting little introduction for you. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be treating this like a full tutorial or anything, but yeah, I'm just gonna run through this and try to make something. Hey, morning guys. Morning Igor, Brush Runner, Igor M and Igor K. Yeah, this is 2.8, so I also wanted to, I spent all yesterday just messing around with 2.8 and trying to get these scripts up and running for my class tomorrow. So there's, it's been a lot of Python lately, a little bit of scripting, trying to get 2.8 to be ready for prime time. So yeah, I'm pretty excited with what I did yesterday. It was a lot of frustration. I spent like 5 hours working on this stupid script that does a stupid thing, and now it's finally working, so I wanted to play with it. Hi CNET, welcome. So today we are modeling a tractor instead of drawing it, and I hope that this video will be sort of a little, for you guys who have never considered 3D, I hope this will be interesting to you as like a little demo of the kind of stuff that you can do with it. And it's a lot like drawing actually, so I feel like it's pretty cool, the stuff that we can do. And I feel like 3D modeling is related to drawing in that the process is sort of similar, where we're trying to sort of start off with very simple shapes and try to build things as simply as possible. And then as we keep going, we can get more and more into detail. But for example, here I'm just going to start to bring out a bunch of rings pretty much, or donuts for the wheels, just very primitive shapes. And by the way, this is an Italian, what is it, Landini tractor. Yeah, and then so for the script stuff, I've been working a lot on pie menus and scripts. And so basically we're able to do stuff like that, where we can place cylinders according to what we had selected. So that's pretty handy. I've got an enhanced extrude here because usually Blender, when you extrude stuff, it likes to turn things inside out. So if I bring up another Blender here, so let me demonstrate this really quickly. So for example, if we have a piece here in regular Blender and we hit E to extrude it, it can be inside out sometimes. So the red means inside out and blue means right side out. And so it is possible to extrude things and make them flipped inside out, which is not a good thing in my opinion, especially for students that are trying to learn this stuff and then all of a sudden they have a bunch of inside out meshes. So I just spent all of yesterday pretty much, oh shit. I spent all of yesterday writing a script that will make it basically impossible to make stuff inside out. So as you can see here, we're right side out, and here's inside out. And as soon as I click, it flips it to be back inside out, or right side out, which, I don't know. For me, that's a big feature because 99% of the time I'm having to recalculate those shapes to be right side out. Sorry for the stupid tangent. These are very frustrating little things for me, although I know for I probably sound like a crazy person. But yeah, we can extrude and inset stuff. Got quite a few hotkeys here running, which I think for modeling, it's really good to have your own setup where you kind of, I don't know, you figure out the stuff that you use the most, and then you kind of make your setup so that it works for you. So here, I'm going to try to duplicate these. Oops. So there's 4 of them here. Let's try duplicate radial. Oops. And why did it do that? Yeah, Blender has some quirks for sure. And I'm not saying that I know everything about it, but I've used it enough to know that some things are just weird just to be weird. Some things do make sense though. Some things are pretty awesome. Like, I love how when you're moving stuff, you don't have to hold a key or press any button. You just move the mouse, and you're already interacting with the tool, which is awesome. Yeah, Killer Den. It's that inside out thing is like killing people. I've really noticed it, especially in classes, Blender classes, where, I mean, if you're extruding stuff and constantly you're going inside out, that's really going to screw you up. So I'm pretty excited about this. Actually, I didn't update the Dropbox. Did I update the drop? Let me check and see. Well, anyway, let me put it there just in case. So all these scripts that I'm using here are going to be in the Dropbox. I posted a link below, and it's free, but here, I'm going to copy them over right now just to make sure that we have the latest ones. I think I might have copied them last. Oh shit, I didn't want to delete them. And then there's also this config folder that we need. Copy, paste. Okay, so that should be all updated. If you go to the link in the description, you can download all this stuff that I'm using if you want. All right, and then the cool thing about Blender, of course, is that we have this new EV business, which is pretty awesome. We can change our HDRIs, and let me just use this one. But you can do materials too while you're modeling, so let me try to work on the wheel a little bit. Oops. And yeah, 3D is definitely nice for wheels, I mean, like lazy stuff, or any kind of primitives that are annoying to make. Alright, so then if we have a wheel here, we could add a new material, like rubber, make it dark. Mirror it over. We could say that this is the yellow. Make it yellow. The other cool thing is if we could even use the color picker here, the eyedropper, and then grab the actual color from the picture. That's a nice little thing. And then there's these ribs that go around the wheel, or the tire. Oops. I could separate this wheel off and mirror it. There we go. Can mirror it right here. Hey Johan, yeah, we're doing Blender today. Let me make the rubber a little bit rougher here. Yeah, so it's nice. We get a pretty decent preview of what, I mean, this is what the material is going to look like. And it's pretty nice to model like that, because then you don't have to guess at all. It's all right there for you. Yeah. And I don't know, I find modeling to be kind of relaxing. Although I know that's kind of strange. Most of my students think of modeling like a nightmare. It's like a necessary evil for doing their work, but I don't know, for some reason I enjoy it. Let's see, gray. Let's make this gray. I'll use the color picker again. Pick that interesting. It's kind of like a greenish gray. Oh. All right. Okay, let me start to fill this up a little bit more. Maybe we could have a bigger wheel back here. Yeah, man, 2.8 is kicking ass right now. So yeah, feel free if you guys have any questions about Blender or 2.8. Let me know. This is again, this is a free program, which I think is also worth mentioning. And I fully believe that this is usable for professional like animation work and concept arts type stuff, which is that's what I do for that's what I usually do. Work in animation and video games and stuff, and I've used a lot of Moto in the past, but I'm switching over. I've been using Blender for maybe the past couple years, and I think it's pretty amazing. One of the crazy things about Blender is just the development speed. So I've never used a program where, number one, you are basically connected to the developers very closely. You can reach out to them on Instagram and Twitter and wherever, and like they're all kind of superstars in the Blender world, and you can talk to them, real people, which is cool. And I'm sure you can do that with other programs, but like I've never talked to Thomas Knoll from Photoshop, or like I've never talked to these actual developers, and I don't know if that's by design, like they don't want random idiots talking to them, wasting their time, but I think that's cool that the Blender developers seem to be kind of available to the public to talk, and they help you with stuff like yeah, they're pretty active on the internet, on forums and stuff, and then they do stuff like the Blender Today live stream that Pablo Vasquez does. That's pretty awesome, because I mean it's a lot of effort to do that stuff, and it's very useful for the community to see what's going on, what's new, and he's like right there in the middle of the development of the office and everything. So it's really, I don't know, it's fun to watch. It's kind of like a spectator sport. Red Ramos says, do you miss anything from Moto? There's definitely some things in Moto that are better thought out. I think the selection in general is one of the big things in Moto. That was one of the main selling points, is we have the best selection tools, and they really did put a ton of emphasis into selection and modeling, because I mean one of the main problems of modeling is selection. I guess that's like 90% of the speed of what you're doing comes from, are you able to select stuff quickly and isolate things when you need to, and be very specific with your selections. So yeah, Moto selection is hard to beat, although I've been working on selection in Blender for the past couple years, and I feel like it is in a pretty good spot now where I feel comfortable using it, and it feels pretty fluid for the stuff that I need. And what else do I miss in Moto? Some of the tools are just nicely thought out. I definitely miss the work plane. The work plane is genius, and Blender's equivalent is the 3D cursor, which is kind of silly because it's not really 3D, or it wasn't 3D. You couldn't set it to an axis in 2.79, but now they're finally coming around to adding that stuff in. So I think the 3D cursor will probably be more useful for 2.8. But other than that, I think in a lot of ways Blender is a better modeler sometimes. And in terms of the other areas, I feel like Blender is more fleshed out in stuff like nodes and modifiers and stuff like that. It's had those features for a longer time than Moto, So I feel like it has a little bit of a head start on some of that. Oh yeah, so I'm just using the regular, like for example, let me bring this over here, RX90. So let's say we're assigning materials to this light over here. Sorry. Okay, so this is chrome here. So we could just grab all this stuff here. And I have a pie menu here that's Shift V, and you can copy materials and make new materials. But I could just say copy material here and make it metallic, and then call this chrome. And that's it. And Z shade smooth will kind of smooth that out for us a little bit. And then we could maybe bring this in. The thing with headlights and anything that has to do with glass is that you have to, if you want it to look realistic, you have to model what's inside the glass. So we're treating it like a real headlight right here. So inside we'll have chrome, and then outside we'll have the glass. And we could even make the glass like kind of domed out like that. And then Shift V, let's add a new material slot here and switch this to glass. And save this. I'm saving a lot because this is all new stuff and it may or may not crash. But yeah, we have glass in Eevee now, which is pretty sweet. You can adjust how thick it looks here. You can give it some bubbles glasses here. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Decent. I'm subdividing this to make it a little bit smoother. I feel like I could do the same thing here. I should have made this a little bit. Another option, if we need to make stuff smoother, is we could just subdivide the entire thing. But if I'm going to subdivide the entire thing, then I want to reduce my poly count a little bit. I know this is the heavy poly stream, but still have to be responsible here with our poly counts, you know. Alright, so if I go here, oops, Shift Z, Shift Z will go around in a circle like that, and then Shift Alt double click. Oh shit, what did I do? No, here, Shift Z, Shift Alt double click, Control X. Okay, so now I'm going to separate these two off with P, so these are on a separate mesh, and then I can subdivide these. And so when you look at them in object mode, they get really, really smooth. I'm going to separate this off a little bit like that. There we go. Johan, so you have any crashes? There's a tiny bit of crashes once in a while, but I mean, hopefully I haven't run into any crashes for this stream yet, thankfully. So we'll see if it crashes. The test will be if we crash during the stream. So far, so good. I'm trying to stay out of trouble here. Alright, so then this mesh here has a bunch of stuff on it, like we have all these bolts. So I might separate this off just so it's easier to deal with and I don't have to worry about the geometry. Also because I don't think this giant wheel is mirrored to the other side of the tractor, so it's better to have it separate. So that way, yeah, let me put this one also on here. So this, yeah, and all of this engine stuff I think is only on one side over here. Okay, let's try the fairing. Maybe could get one of these here. So I'm trying to create like the front edge of the fairing, and then we can hit shift space to extrude it. Actually, let me go to side view. Can hit E for extrude to cursor, which kind of like rotates it a little bit as you're going around the corner. Okay, and then shift space. And then let me hit P to separate that. Mirror it, subdivide it, and then we can add a thickness after the subdivide. So this is one of the cool things about Blender that Moto didn't have this when I first started using it. So these modifiers let you kind of do stuff interactively. So let's say we move this piece over here, it's going to update that automatically, which is great. And then we can always change the settings after the fact. So that's really, really powerful, especially for you guys who are designing stuff, because that just means that you don't have to, you just have more flexibility that way. You don't have to make definite choices, I guess. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure of what that shape is, but I'm doing my best guess here. I probably need some more reference. This is probably a lot bigger, yeah. There we go. Hey Alec, how's it going? Ready for tomorrow? I'm kind of like warming up today. Let's see. MG says because you're a Boolean guy, can Booleans create good topology? Yeah, they can. I mean, that's not their strength, but you can do, yeah. I think good topology is a very subjective thing, and kind of a, I think, I don't know what to say. That's like asking what good design is. So let's see. Killer Den says, I'm used to programs like SolidWorks and Fusion, so everything you do is easy to find and adjust later on, but it's possible to adjust the fillet on something after you've completed the fillet. Yes, you can do that with Blender. We have this thing called Bevel Modifier. So for example, here we have a bevel. You can tell the bevel to only happen on certain angles. So any kind of faces that are over 30 degrees will have the bevel. And then we can tell it how big you want the bevel to be. And you can tell it how smooth you want it to be. And you can turn this on and off. Well, actually, oh yeah, there you go. You can turn it on and off. You can change the width after the fact. You can weight it manually. You can choose which edges you want to weight. But for now, I'm going to leave it off. But I mean, it's kind of cool. It makes everything look soft here. The only thing that we don't have that you do have in SolidWorks and Fusion and all that is that we can't bevel after Booleans. So for example, if we are I mean, we could, but it's harder. So if we're adding two things together like this with a Boolean, you can bevel, but it's just a little bit trickier to deal with these edges. And it gets difficult, especially when the surfaces are more complicated. Then it sort of becomes a nightmare to bevel after additions. But like this kind of thing, let me see. I mean, you could weight this as a bevel. So you tell it wait, how would you weight this? I forgot how to do it. Anyway, you can tell the bevel modifier to only bevel these selected verts. You can make a vertex group here like that, and then tell this to use that vertex group, and then it should hopefully, no? Well, I'm obviously not an expert at this kind of beveling. It is a bit tricky, but and it's definitely not as strong as not as flexible as solids modeling like Fusion and SolidWorks. Okay, so let's see what else do we have. And we could get this up to here, probably, I think. Right about there. Okay, and then we have a couple more. So again, we can add cylinders based off of the direction of the selected faces. So that's great. And it looks like the bottom of this thing is sort of rounded out like that. I've also got a new, what do you call it? Symmetry Pi in here for 2.8. And the difference is that in 2.79, for symmetry, when you use symmetrize, you'd have to do this weird thing like, let's say I wanted to symmetrize this thing. It would symmetrize it, but then it's doing this weird deselection thing here. So then if you wanted to symmetrize it again, you would have to double click the whole thing. And that's just an extra step here that I don't want, especially if you're doing a bunch of them at the same time. And if you don't do that extra step, then it screws up your model. So what we have here in 2.8 is it's kind of like an auto symmetry, and so you don't need an extra step. It's just going to work always, and you won't lose your selection either. So I think this is a pretty good improvement, and it'll make symmetry a lot faster. Let's see. Did you assign it to the vertex group? Oh, you're right, Adam. I forgot to assign it to the vertex group. Ramon, have you tried my hotkey suggestions? Hey man, I saw your message, but I can't use those hotkeys because I'm lefty. So yeah, I'm using a tablet with my left hand, and my right hand is on the keyboard. So, but those are really good suggestions. I definitely agree that, you know, it depends on how you work. So you should set it to how you want it. There's an add-on called Mesh Machine that allows removing normal, non-modifier bevels and changing the width segments as well as it. Yeah, actually, I saw the demos for that Mesh Machine thing, and it's pretty awesome. That definitely looks like a better option. So let's see, Johan probably, or whoever's asking about SolidWorks, you should check out Mesh Machine, and that guy is a genius. Machine, he goes by Machine on YouTube. You should definitely check out his stuff. Does Blender have anything like fall off? Yeah, it does. So there's this this bunch of fall offs here, proportional editing. So you can say, just turn on a fall off, change the size of the fall off. So that's, I guess, the closest thing. It's not perfect. I mean, we do have different modes here. So for example, if we have a monkey, we can change the fall off here. And there's also a random fall off. Let's see if this works. That's kind of cool. So yeah, there's fall offs, but they're not as controllable as the Moto fall offs, unfortunately. But we do have Lattice, which I think is just as good. So if we add in a Lattice deform, I don't know if Lattice is working in 2.8, but I'll try. So let's choose that Lattice. Oh yeah, it works. So check it out. We got Lattice deform. And this gives you a ton of control if you need it. I mean, I rarely use deformers actually, because I try to block out my shapes like how they should be at first. But so but the nice thing about having this as a modifier is we can turn it on and off, and we can have like different versions of the model that use different lattices. So this is pretty awesome. Let's do Control L and link the modifiers. Oops. select the one with the modifiers last. And now all of these have the same modifiers. And that's pretty awesome. We can animate that. And of course, turn it off or delete it. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, man, I think that mesh machine thing looks really sweet. I wish I could play with it, but I've been staying away from all paid add-ons because of classes that I'm teaching, so I don't want to introduce more paid stuff. But man, that stuff is really, really nice. So yeah, I would use the Lattice stuff if you have access to it. I mean the mesh machine, for sure. There's also an add-on called Bevel After Boolean that I've been pretty interested in too. Just search Bevel After Boolean, and there's a nice thread on Blender Artist, and this one dude, Mr. Ilya, is making this insane add-on that lets you do basically any kind of geometry that you want. You can Boolean them together and then have a bevel afterwards. So then that's basically like SolidWorks fillets. And I wonder if there would be a way to combine this with the mesh machine add-on and have be able to edit these really the bevel after booleans. This is like the holy grail of 3D modeling. If you can do this and have flexibility and be able to control the edges, then you're golden. This is really, really difficult to do in Blender or any polygon modeler like Maya, Max, Moto, Blender. They all have the same problems, and this is basically the biggest issue right now in terms of like hard surface modeling. So yeah, check out this Bevel After Boolean if you guys are interested in that kind of technical modeling. Alright, so for the smaller cylinders, I like to use a lower resolution, just so I don't kill my computer. Although, it seems like Eevee's been handling stuff pretty well. Not too much trouble here. Let's put this onto another metal. Maybe this could be, let me save this just in case. Oops. Actually, let me try changing this to glossy V. Okay. And my idea here is okay, so if I apply, let's say I apply one color to the whole thing, and let's make it metal. Okay, one color to the whole thing, this light color, and then we could select the top verts here and give it a brownish burnt color. And then you get a nice fade from white to brown. And that's pretty cool. Very easy. So the fading works in edges or verts mode. So you could make it like purple down here, or just darker in general, and yeah, it's great. You could put an edge in the middle, edge ring, and then have it fade from like dark to light to back to dark again. So that's just a very quick and easy way to do like texturing, I guess. It's not technically, I mean, it's using vertex color, so we're not using any image texture, and that's actually a nice thing, because then we don't have to worry about painting and bringing in another program and saving images, which take up a lot of space. This is a lot more efficient, I feel like. So I like to use vertex colors for any kind of really general texturing like that. And I can't really see what's going on in the back here. But there's a plate for sure right here. We could make a Boolean cut over here if we, let's say like 12-sided. This is a pretty tiny hole, so I'm gonna make it low res and then subtract it. Actually, let me make this flat first. Do 20. And subtract. Okay, let's see. So yeah, I don't know. Do any of you guys, have any of you guys never used 3D before? Or are you guys all, I mean, I'm guessing if you're on this channel, you probably have, you know, dabbled in 3D stuff, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. I'll try not to assume. Eric, cool. Well, yeah, I think the cool thing about Blender is that it's very accessible, it's free, you can download it. They release a new version every day, so it's pretty cool. It's like a gateway. I mean, it's not really a gateway program because I think you can start with it and you can really grow with it and do professional work with it. So it's not like, I feel like SketchUp is a program where you start off with it, but then you might outgrow it after a while. But Blender, on the other hand, is like pretty fully featured. So you could do a lot with it. Oh, cool. All right, hi, Liano. New to Blender, but not a lot of 3D besides ZBrush. Oh yeah, totally different animal. ZBrush is really cool too. Eric. Johan says, is there a way to make accelerating radiuses? Accelerating radiuses, like non-symmetrical radiuses? By that, do you mean... Oops. What about, like... By radius, you mean like a fillet or a bevel, right? So like this. Is that what you mean? For that kind of stuff, you just have to control your edges beforehand. So you would draw in where you want the radius to be, pretty much, and then you can do it. That's kind of weird, but yeah. Let's see. Killer Den prefers 2D. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a lot less headache, I think. MG says, I'm a 3D animator, just started my 3rd year, model a lot. Nice. That's a tough job. The animations, like, that would drive me crazy. I feel like that's the next level past of modeling. Never used 3D. I think I subscribed because I like your bug sketches. Cool. Yeah, well, I hope this stuff is interesting and at least gets you thinking about 3D. Spencer says, that's what got me back from Moto. The development is so transparent. Yep, I think that's my favorite part about it. Feels like you're part of the team, even though you're not, because you get to see what they're doing, and yeah, it feels like a little family type of thing. Alex says, have you played with QuickSoul? No, not yet. I haven't really. I mean, usually I'm doing things that are just like studio renders and very clean materials, so I don't really do anything that needs, you know, grunge or scratches and stuff. I'm usually keeping it clean. RJ says, I learned Moto from your tutorials and finished my thesis thanks to it. I used to tinker with it for 2D illustrations. That's awesome. Cool. I'm glad to hear that. What kind of, was it a thesis of, were you doing video game stuff or some sort of a modeling program at school? Okay. Okay, so let's try cultural heritage. Nice. That's cool. So you will, I guess for your work, you'll be doing reconstructions and like visualizations of historic restorations. Oh yeah, Shift R will repeat. I kind of forgot about that. Let me undo these guys here. So there's one that's like more inwards, and then there's another one that's more towards the center, and then Shift D, move it down a little bit, Shift R, then we can move this one out. All right, I'm gonna search for that video you found. I'll just search that title. Eric. So MG's saying, have you submitted any heavy poly stuff to RCS? I have. I think I've posted like 1 or 2 things, but honestly, this setup it's probably almost hundreds of different little things that are changed about it. So I don't know if that's practical to post to RCS. because it's more of a system than just a single suggestion or a single improvement. There's like a million different little things. 3D seems really intimidation though, because it feels like you would need to know programming and math and have 3D graphics understanding. I don't think so. I mean, when I started using 3D, I didn't know any programming, and I'm pretty bad at math. It's not. I think it's, if you're a visual person, then it'll be a little bit more easy. Like if you like puzzles and shapes and stuff. If you liked geometry class when you were in school, then you'll probably enjoy 3D modeling. If you hated geometry class, then you probably should not do 3D modeling. But I'm a freak. I actually enjoyed geometry class. Let me see. So here, I'm gonna do this cut, and then we can watch that video. I'm gonna save this. I mean, I'm pretty impressed that we haven't crashed so far. Pretty good. Actually, I think I need to put a knife cut through all of this. There. Maybe here. And the reason I'm doing this knife cut is to make the front a little bit rounder, like that. So just these little subtle curves here will help a lot to make this feel more friendly and round. And then we can mirror it over. Okay, and then, all right, I'm going to save this before I do the cut, just in case. There's the cut. And ideally this would be a shell thickness, but it's okay. I'm just gonna roll with it like this for now. And they look a little bit thick, like they should be more narrow. So I'm gonna undo this. And so these guys, to make them more narrow, I'm just going to stretch them out a little bit. Like that. Let's go to front view. Select all this junk here, move them over. And then that means I need to scale this down. And that looks a little more proper. So this can move down. There we go, perfect. Save that again. And this time I'm going to dig this in a little bit farther. Like that. Subtract it. Oop. Alright, maybe I overdid it a little bit. Alright. Not too bad. I'm going to save that for later though, because I think this would be better to have this all round it out first. With all the bevels and stuff before we go in with the fancy cuts. What the heck? Oh. I wonder what would happen. Let's separate this off and subdivide it. Okay. So that's not too bad. Maybe if we add loops in here. Make this a little bit flatter on the bottom. Extra loops in here. And what I think is happening is this whole top here is like a fuel tank or something, right? This whole can, and it extrudes through the entire body, all the way up to the radiator. But then the radiator is just, this whole grill up here is just covering over the fuel can, I think. So I mean, this back here is probably a hole, I'm guessing, because the air would need to flow through there. And maybe this stuff too is separate. I'm gonna cut it off because I think it's separate, and that'll also improve the flow of the subdivision. So now we could just hide this. Oops. So then I can get rid of all these extra edges and just join here, and join here. Oops. May have been talking out of my ass. Because I feel like the reason that this little seam line is here is to hide that joint between the grill and the top. Why is this all separate? Oops. I think I liked what I had before, but it's too late now. Alright. So if you check out, they have some pretty good views of the sides. Oh, alright. There's a particular reason for guessing how this works from one photo instead of looking at blueprints. Not really. I should have blueprints, but I imagine it would be hard to get. True Homie says, "Hey Vaughn, are you using customized hotkeys?" Yep, this is all custom. All this stuff is just finishing. I'm just finishing these up. Like as we speak, this week and last week. So yeah, this is all custom. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I'm sort of just testing it out today and make sure things work before class. Alright, let me get rid of all this stuff. Maybe I can get rid of this. Put some extra loops here to keep it tight. Oops. I'm separating this ring off too, because I want to keep all of this stuff sharp. Okay, and then what happened to this? All right. Lee, has there been updates to your scripts since last week? Yes. I just uploaded them at the beginning of this stream. There's been a couple new things, like there's an enhanced extrude. I was just showing it earlier. So before, it was possible to extrude things inside out, and that was screwing up a lot of students. So now when you extrude something and it's gonna be inside out, it automatically fixes that, so it becomes right side out. So it's basically impossible to create an inside out extrusion now, which is good. And then there's also an update to the Symmetry pie. So now you don't have to, oh shit, I did not want to symmetrize that. Crap. Oh well. Now we have two pipes here that are Siamese pipes. But anyway, yeah, there's updates. And did I already use Alias? Yes, I've used Alias in school. That's what I learned in school, and it was such a pain in the ass. It's kind of the main reason why I switched to Moto, is because I saw how easy it was compared to Alias. Alright, let me find that video from Eric, I think. Where the hell did it go? Landini, Tesla Calda, 25. Okay, here we are. Let's check out the Landini. think it's this one, right? Oh wait, no, it's a different one. Although that's pretty good too. So there's a giant flywheel. Here we go. Damn, look at that detail up here. It's beautiful. And the giant flywheel. I guess they just need the power to be, you know, stored up in there so it has a lot of momentum and a lot of torque. I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. This thing is really beautiful. It's really funky. Is there any function to make some slightly curved surfaces, like when you move CVs and alias? Yes, you can do that. Let me put this over to the side for a bit. So in Blender, those kind of CV surfaces is basically any vert here is a CV. You can think of it like that. And every edge is like a span. And if we were to subdivide it, that just means that when we curve it, it creates the curved surface. And that's why polygon modeling is so powerful, is because, I mean, I feel like this stuff was a lot more annoying to do in Alias. You can make little bevels to make it sharper. And you can get really interesting shapes just by, you know, changing your topology a little bit. But yeah, it's extremely powerful. You can do really great, you can do organic stuff very, very quickly using this subdivision modifier here. Like that. Smart boy, Isaac Newton. Well, you should check out Blender because it's also free. Or actually, SketchUp isn't even free anymore. But this is cool. Holy crap. Alright. So there is 2 flywheels. Sorry. Let me see the other side here. I'm trying to get this triangle panel right here. Something like that. Let me make it the same color too. What was it, gray? And the top needs to line up with that bar. But these come up above the center line here. Like, the tank starts curving in already, and then these guys just wrap around sort of the center line of the tank, I guess, to hide that corner. Very cool. And then this, I think, is going to be more upwards, like that. Something like that. And then here. Actually, it's better to do this in 2D. So if I delete the rest of this. Oops. So let's see if we can do this more efficiently. Maybe we could bevel these two. And then there's a little bevel down here. And there's also like a lip that goes around the whole thing. Maybe, how would I do that? Get rid of these ones. Okay. I have Blender on my desktop. Does that count? I guess so. Vaughn, could you implement tab to toggle sub D as well, like in 2.79? Yeah, tab is already toggling sub D right now. Just hit tab. The only problem is that 2.8 does not have, you can't see modifiers in edit mode right now. So even though the tab modifier is on, you can't see it. It's there though. So they're going to be probably adding that in the next, I don't know when they're going to add it, but they're going pretty quickly, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so then down here I think is empty, right? It looks like it's just a hole down there. So to make this at an angle here, we can go to front view and just rotate it a little bit. I'll fix this up. Or you could go RY to lock it in the front view. And then let's add some little nubs like that. You can hold control to snap it to the, well, I thought that's how you do it. I think I need to change my snapping to closest. There we go. By the way, is there a quick way for vertex color select and assign like you showed earlier? No, there's not a quick way, which is why I made that menu. Because normally it takes a few steps to do it. And you have to go into the vertex menu. You have to go like over here. Where do you... you have to go in here. You have to make a vertex color. You have to... then I don't even know where you assign the colors. It's like somewhere else. I think it's in the vertex painting mode. You have to go over here. Then you have to open a fucking menu, and then you have to... It's way too many steps. So yeah, the pie menu was mainly designed for vertex color. So you can just pick a vertex color and hit apply, and that's it. So that's all. I definitely don't recommend doing it the normal way. And I feel like it's such a powerful feature that it's hidden away like that, it becomes so that nobody wants to use it for this kind of thing, you know? So, yeah. Mark Carino says, I recently got your sci-fi tutorial, but I want to work in 2.8. Is there any part that wouldn't carry over? Not that I know of, but I would recommend you do it. I mean, it's going to be maybe like 85% the same. There will be some differences, I'm sure, and things that might not work exactly like in the video. But so you might have to do some figuring out, but I would say it'll be like 90% the same. Yeah, but that would be pretty cool, because then you could preview the scene in Eevee. Alright, let me put this back over. Alright, cool. Good luck. Yeah, I hope that works. I think it should be okay. Though I haven't tried it myself. You'll be the first one. Convert cycles to Eevee. That's easy. You go over here to the render tab and just switch from cycles to Eevee. Right here. And that's it. All done. Okay. Some bits of your builds would be super useful, like pie menus for adding geo materials add-on would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, well, this whole thing is available free, so you can use it if you want. It's down here in the link, the HEAVYPOLY install video. So, but yeah, this video, this YouTube of the Landini is pretty useful here. I think I need to add a cube. You can make a rounded box pretty easily by just beveling the corners. So that's not completely, oops, a square, right? It's like got, will it break if I just install some parts of it? Yeah, a lot of the hotkeys will break because for some reason you're not able to just set a key map using a script. You have to actually set the key map in the startup file if you want to disable certain keys. So it requires the startup file so that the correct keys can be disabled, so that then the proper key map can work. So it's all like, it needs the whole thing for it to work. Otherwise you're going to run into problems. Is it possible to insert a parallel loop of edges on several surfaces? I don't know. I'm not sure if I understand parallel loop ones. You can make a cut through the whole thing, if that's what you're saying, like knife tool, K, see, that puts a cut through all surfaces. Is that it? Eric, I teach at Brainstorm School here in Pasadena. Oh, not Pasadena, Glendale, that's where I am. Sorry, I moved recently. In Los Angeles area. So here I'm making it a little bit round first, and then we can bevel these, and then bevel these. So now it's kind of like a rounded square instead of just a square. And then here we can add like a 24 side, and maybe we can add a 6 side here. Oops. Then on this top side here, maybe we could add 12 side. One of our neighbors still maintains and actively uses an old tractor similar to this one. That's pretty awesome. I wonder what kind of gas mileage these get. Do you do one-day lessons, or is it a school thing where you need to sign up for a semester? It's a school and with a semester and everything. It's a 10-week semester, and we just started the term this last week. Did you ever try CAD for hard surface and retopo output mesh? Do you think it's worth it, or the Booleans bevel combo in Blender is clean enough? Yeah, I've tried Moment of Inspiration, I've tried Alias, I've tried, what do you call it? Fusion 360, tried SolidWorks, tried that one on the iPad. I've tried a lot of different CADs, and honestly though, I haven't put enough time into them to really understand it fully, or get comfortable with it. But for now, I think this polygons is good enough for the stuff that I'm doing, and it is really fast also, which is nice. And I think the other cool thing about Blender is that it's not just for modeling. You can do a lot of other stuff in it too, like video editing. You can do rendering, animation. So I think it's worth it for me to. It's worth the disadvantages, I guess. Alright, I'm getting kind of caught up in details here, but I would like to maybe get more of the block-in done, like this giant transmission tunnel, and let me see. Probably this other pipe on the other side is, yeah. So here, let me get this one. Oops. So this thing is not the same design, I think. It's similar, but somehow it's a little different from this side. Oops. Okay. Maybe this side, it's similar, it just has this extra like metal pulley. Let me give this a different material so I can see what's going on. Call it metal. Man, I'm getting hungry. Jeez, we've been going for a long time, guys. So yeah, but I feel pretty excited about this whole Blender thing, and you guys have been asking some really good questions, and hopefully this has been helpful in getting you a little bit, familiar with what you can do in terms of modeling in Blender. And yeah, it's pretty fun so far. Y90. It's got some orange here. This is a little bit wider. We can scale things by individuals, which means it's kind of like scale in place, if that makes any sense. And then these seem to be just holes, because the other side was bolts. So maybe I need to switch this to a round piece here. A little bit smaller. Save. Still no crashes. We're doing pretty good today. I'm very excited. There's no crashes on the stream. And here we are. Actually, I think this whole thing here should be higher resolution. Hi, Kalilo. Organic sculpting. Yes, you can do organic sculpting too. Let's bring out the sculpting. Here we go. See, edit mode, sculpt mode. Where's my... Oops. Can I undo that, please? Thank you. Okay. Let's bring out the monkey. Sculpt mode. It seems like it's not updating right away, unless I'm crazy. Am I crazy? Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it is there and it works pretty good. There's also dynamic topology stuff and all this crazy stuff in the sculpting, but they're working on it. I saw your Gundam model this morning. Really neat. Would you consider designing a humanoid? Yeah, I do some humanoid stuff sometimes. It takes a while to do, so I usually don't, but yeah. Better to turn on Dynatopo. Yep. Yeah, Dynatopo. I don't know what's wrong with the sculpt mode right now, but and I don't see Dino Topo. Where'd it go? We need our dinosaur topo. Sculpt. Enable mode. Where is it? Well, I don't know. They're probably gonna add it back in somewhere. I have no idea where it went. Oh, maybe you have to be in the sculpting. Oh, okay, here we go. So there's a sculpting mode here. Let me open up my window. Interesting. This is my first time playing around with this sculpting. How do you change the size again? I forget how to change the size. Is it D? No. V. Oops. Let's turn on the Dino Topo. Blah blah blah. Okay. So what this does is when you zoom in, it's actually creating new geometry right where you're sculpting, and that's super powerful. So if we have clay, it just like this is one giant polygon here, but we can subdivide it dynamically using this little checkbox. And you can change the detail size and make it smaller so that we have, let's see, let's go really, really small. Really, really, really small. And now we have like ZBrush resolution in here. Pretty cool. Actually, ZBrush didn't even have this Dino Topo thing until very recently. So Blender had it before. ZBrush had it in the Sculptress program, but they finally merged it into the main ZBrush program recently. So yeah, you got everything here. You can do some rudimentary sculpting. If you model with a tablet, then you're crazy. Yeah, tablet. So I mean, I was modeling with a mouse for a long time, but I started to get like, I don't know, it hurt my hand a little bit. So now I'm using tablet. So it's a lot less stress on your fingers. Okay, I'm going to take a little break here because my head is hurting, and I guess, yeah, we might as well call it here. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining in, guys. I'm probably going to do this again at some point and try to finish this up. This is a pretty fun model so far, and it's a really cool design. So anyway, have a good day. See you guys later, and yeah. Oh yeah, and please give this video a like if you like it, and do a little subscribe if you want to see more Blender stuff, and see you next time. Bye.